Hi, boys and girls. So I'm going to read the next chapter in our Beezus and Ramona. Hold on one second. I'm going to take off my shoes so I can be nice and comfy. Okay, so we are on chapter, I think it's 4. In the last chapter, Ramona and Ribsy, if you remember, Ramona had put Ribsy in the bathroom, and then Ribsy accidentally bumped the lock, and he was locked inside of the bathroom. Do you remember? Yes. And so they had to get a nail file to get him out. And at the end of the chapter, Beezus was feeling quite I can't say the word, quite frustrated with Ramona because she always felt like Ramona was bothering her and doing things and getting in trouble. So she was feeling very frustrated with her little sister. So I think Beatrice was trying to learn how to practice some patience. We were talking about that on Zoom this week, weren't we? About ways we're trying to be patient and wait for things and take our turns and wait for meals and all of those things that are happening right now, especially because we're all home together. So we're practicing a lot of that, aren't we? And I certainly am at my house too. So let's see what happens to Ramona in the next chapter and see if maybe something happens that maybe helps Beezus feel a little bit better about her sister. So chapter 4 is called Ramona and the Apples. Now you can't see Hobbs, but he's sitting here holding the camera for me. So you can't see him, but he's here. So sometimes I use him to help hold the camera up at just the right angle. But he's still here. He snuggled in with me yesterday. Okay, ready? All right. Mother, I'm home, Beezus called as she burst into the house one afternoon after school. Mother appeared wearing her hat and coat, carrying a shopping list in her hand. She kissed Beezus on the cheek. How was school today? She asked. It was all right. We studied about Christopher Columbus, she said. Did you? I wonder if you mind keeping an eye on Ramona for a half an hour while I go to the supermarket. She was up so late last night, I let her have a long nap, and I wasn't able to go out until she woke up. Okay, she said. I'll look after her. I told her she could have 2 marshmallows, said Mother as she left the house. Ramona came out of the kitchen with a marshmallow in each hand. Her nose was covered with white powder. What's Christopher Columbus? She said. Christopher Columbus, Beezus corrected her. Come here, Ramona, let me wipe your nose. No, said Ramona, backing away. I just powdered it. Closing her eyes, Ramona pounded one of the marshmallows against her nose. Powdered sugar flew all over her face. These are my powder puffs, she said. Beezus started to tell her that she was not to be so silly and that she was going to get sticky, but then decided not to. Ramona never really minded being sticky. Instead, she said, Christopher Columbus is the man who discovered America. He was trying to prove that the world is round. Is it? Ramona sounded puzzled. Then she beat the marshmallow on her chin. Why, Ramona, don't you know the world is round? Ramona shook her head and powdered her forehead with the marshmallow. Well, the world is round just like an orange. If you could start out and travel in a perfectly straight line, you would come back right where you started. I would? Ramona looked as if she didn't understand this at all. She also looked like she didn't care very much because she went right on powdering her face with her marshmallows. Oh, well, thought Beezus. There's no use trying to explain it. She went into the bedroom to change from her school clothes into her play clothes. As usual, she found Ramona's doll, Bendix, lying on her bed, and with a feeling of being a little annoyed, she tossed it across the room onto Ramona's bed. When she had changed her clothes, she went into the kitchen, ate some graham crackers and peanut butter, and helped herself to 2 marshmallows. If Ramona can have 2, it was only fair that she could as well. After eating the marshmallows and licking the powdered sugar from her fingers, Beezus decided that reading about Big Steve would be the easiest way to keep Ramona from thinking up some mischief to get into. Come here, Ramona, she said. I'll read to you. There was no answer. Ramona was not there. That's funny, thought Beezus, and she went into the bedroom. The room was empty. I wonder where she can be, said Beezus. She looked in her mom and dad's room. No one was there. Ramona, she called. No answer. Ramona, where are you? Still no answer. Beezus was worried. She did not think Ramona had left the house because she had not heard the door open and close. Still, with Ramona, you just never knew. Maybe she was hiding. Beezus looked under the beds. No Ramona. She looked in the bedroom closets, and the hall closet, and the linen closet, even the broom closet. No Ramona. She ran upstairs to the attic and looked behind the trunks. Then she ran downstairs to the basement. Ramona, she called out anxiously as she peered around in the dim light. The basement was a spooky place with its gray cement walls and the arms of the furnace reaching out in all directions. Except for a faint sound from the pilot light, everything was silent. Suddenly, the furnace lit itself with such a whoosh that Beezus, with her heart pounding, turned and ran upstairs. Even though she knew it was only the furnace, she felt a little frightened. The house seemed empty when no one answered her calls. Uneasily, Beezus sat down in the living room to try to think while she listened to the silence. She must not get panicky. Ramona couldn't be that far away, and if she didn't turn up soon, she would telephone the police the way Mother did the time Ramona got lost when she went to look for that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Thinking of the rainbow reminded Beezus of her attempt to explain to Ramona that the world was round like an orange. Ramona hadn't looked as if she understood, but sometimes it was hard to tell. Maybe she just understood the part about coming back where she started. If she set out to walk to the end of the rainbow, she could easily be deciding to walk around the world. That's what she must have done. This idea frightened Beezus. How would she ever find her? And what would Mother say if she came home and Ramona was gone? To think of Ramona walking in a straight line, hoping to go around the world and come back, made her anxious. I can't just sit here, she thought. I've got to do something. I'll run out and look up and down the street. She couldn't have gone far. At that moment, Beezus heard a noise. She thought it came from the basement, but she wasn't sure. Tiptoeing to the cold air intake in the hall, that'd be like the vent, right? She bent over and listened. Sure enough, a noise so faint she could scarcely hear it came up through the furnace pipe. The house wasn't empty after all. Just wait till she found Ramona. Ramona snapped on the basement light and ran down the steps. Ramona, come out, she said. I know you're down here. The only answer was a chomping sound coming from the corner of the basement. Beezus ran around the furnace, and there, in the dimly lit corner, sat Ramona eating an apple. Beezus was so relieved to see Ramona safe, and at the same time so angry with her for hiding, that she couldn't say anything. She just stood there, filled with the exasperated, mixed-up feeling that Ramona often gave her. Hello, said Ramona through the bite of an apple. Ramona Geraldine Quimby, she said, what do you think you're doing? Playing hide and seek, she said. Well, I'm not, snapped Beezus. It takes two people to play hide and seek. But you found me, Ramona pointed out. Oh, once again, Beezus couldn't find the words. To think she had worried so when all the time Ramona was sitting in the basement, listening to her call her and eating an apple. As she stood in front of Ramona, her eyes began to grow accustomed to the dim light, and she realized what Ramona was doing. Oh no, she stared, horrified, at what she saw, as if hiding wasn't enough. What would Mother say when she came home and found out what Ramona had been up to all this time? What do you think she's doing? Ramona was sitting on the floor beside a box of apples. Lying around her on the cement floor were a number of apples, each with just one bite taken out of them. While Beezus stared, Ramona reached into the box, selected an apple, took one big bite out of the reddest part, and tossed the rest of the apple onto the floor. While she noisily chewed that bite, she reached into the box again. Ramona, cried Beezus, you can't do that. I can too, said Ramona through her mouthful. Stop it, ordered Beezus. Stop it this instant. You can't just eat one bite and then throw the rest of the way. But the first bite tastes the best, said Ramona reasonably as she reached into the box again. Here she is, look at her. Oh, little mischief she's causing there, huh? Look at all the apples. See how they have just one bite taken out of them? Uh-oh. Now what? What are they going to do with all those? Oh, goodness. Beezus had to admit that Ramona was right. The first bite of an apple always did taste the best. Ramona's sharp little teeth were about to sink into another apple when Beezus snatched it from her. "That's my apple," screamed Ramona. "No, it's not," said Beezus. "One apple is all you're supposed to have. Just wait till Mom sees all this." Ramona stopped screaming and watched Beezus. Then, seeing how angry Beezus was, she smiled and offered her an apple. "I want to share the apples," she said sweetly. "Oh, no, you don't," said Beezus. "And don't try to work that sharing business on me." That was one of the difficult things about Ramona. When she had done something wrong, she often tried to get out of it by offering to share something. She had heard a lot about sharing at school. "Now what am I supposed to do?" Beezus wondered. "I promised Mother I would keep an eye on Ramona, and look what she's gone and done. How am I going to explain this? I'm going to get scolded too, and all the apples. What will we do?" Beezus was sure about one thing. She no longer felt mixed up about how she felt about Ramona. Ramona was just impossible. She grabbed her hand and said, "You come upstairs with me and be good until Mother gets back." Ramona broke away from her and ran into the living room. She climbed onto a chair where she sat with her legs sticking straight out in front of her. She folded her hands in her lap and said in a little voice, "Don't bother me. This is my quiet time, and I'm supposed to be resting." Isn't she funny? There she is. Oh, she looks cute, doesn't she? Oh, yes, but she makes some trouble too, doesn't she? Quiet times were something else Ramona had learned about in nursery school. When she didn't want to do something, she often insisted she was supposed to be having a quiet time. Beezus was about to say that Ramona didn't need that, but then she thought better of it. If Ramona wanted to sit in the chair and be quiet, then she was going to let her. She might actually stay out of trouble until her mother got home. Beezus had no sooner sat down to work on her potholders, planning to keep an eye on Ramona at the same time, when the telephone rang. It must be Aunt Beatrice, she thought. "Hello, darling, how are you?" said her aunt. "Oh, Aunt Beatrice," cried Beezus, "Ramona has just done something awful, and I was supposed to be looking after her. I don't know what to do." And she told her all about Ramona hiding in the cellar and biting into half a box of apples. Beatrice laughed. "Leave it to Ramona to think up something new. Do you know what I'd do if I were you?" "What?" asked Beezus. "I wouldn't say anything more about it. Lots of times, little children are naughty because they want to attract attention. I have an idea that saying nothing about her naughtiness will worry Ramona more than being scolded." Beezus thought this over and decided her aunt was right. "I'll try that," she said. "And about the apples? All I can suggest is that your mother might make applesauce." This struck Beezus as being funny, and she and her aunt laughed together, and she felt much better. "Tell your mother I phoned." "I will," she said, "and please come over soon." When Beezus heard her mother drive up, she rushed out to meet her to tell her the story of what Ramona had done and about what Aunt Beatrice suggested. "Oh dear, leave it to Ramona," she sighed. "Your aunt's right. We're not going to say a word." Beezus helped her mother carry the groceries in the house. Ramona came into the kitchen to see if there were any animal crackers. She waited for a few minutes, and when Beezus didn't say anything, she announced, "I was bad this afternoon." She sounded pleased with herself. "Were you?" said Mother calmly. "Beezus, I think applesauce would be good for dessert. Would you run down and bring up some apples?" Ramona looked disappointed at having failed to arouse any interest. Beezus and her mother exchanged smiles. "I want to help," said Ramona. Beezus and Ramona made 4 trips to the basement to bring all the bitten apples. Mother said nothing about their appearance, but spent the rest of the afternoon peeling and cooking them. After she had finished it, she filled her 2 largest mixing bowls, a casserole bowl, and the bowl of her mixer with applesauce. It took quite a while to arrange the contents of the refrigerator to make room for all that applesauce. When Beezus saw her father coming, she went out and told him, too, and he, too, agreed not to say anything to Ramona. "Daddy!" shrieked Ramona. How's my girl? Asked his father as he picked up Ramona. Oh, I was bad today, Ramona said. Were you? Said father as he put her down. Was there any mail today? Ramona looked disappointed. I was very bad. I was awful, she said. Father sat down and picked up the evening paper. I hid from Beezus and I bit lots and lots and lots of apples, Ramona went on insistently. Remarked father from behind the paper. I see they're going to raise bus fares again. Lots and lots of apples, said Ramona loudly. There she is, look, talking to her dad. Ramona looked puzzled and then disappointed. Father dropped his paper. Something certainly smells good. I think it smells like applesauce. I hope so. There's nothing I like better than a big dish of applesauce. Because Mother had been so busy making applesauce, dinner was a little late that night. At the table, Ramona was unusually well behaved. She did not interrupt, and she did not try to share her carrots the way she normally did. Beezus cleared the table, and Mother saved dessert, which was fig Newtons with, of course, applesauce. Ramona's good behavior continued. Beezus found she was not very hungry for applesauce, but the rest of the family seemed to enjoy it. She had decided to give Aunt Beatrice the potholder she was working on. Ramona approached with Big Steve. Beezus, she said, would you read this to me? Oh, she thinks I'll say no, and then she can make a fuss, thought Beezus. Well, I'm not going to give her a chance, she thought. Okay, she said, putting down her potholder and taking the book while Ramona climbed into the chair. Big Steve was a steam shovel, she began. He was the biggest steam shovel in the city. Grrr, growled Big Steve when he moved the earth to make way for the new highway. Father dropped his newspaper and looked at his two daughters sitting side by side. I wonder, he asked, exactly how long this is going to last. There they are. Well, let's just enjoy it while it does, said Mother, who was basting patches on the knees of a pair of Ramona's pants. Beezus also wondered just how long this would go on. She didn't enjoy growling like a steam shovel, and she felt that perhaps Ramona was getting her own way after all. I'm trying to like her, and I'm supposed to, thought Beezus, and I do like her more than I did this afternoon when I found her in the basement. But what on earth is Mother ever going to do with all of that applesauce, she thought. Oh, there's that little Ramona, making more mischief. All right, so tomorrow, chapter 5 is called A Party at the Quimby's. Ooh, that sounds like fun. So we'll see what that is. Okay, everybody, have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow for chapter 5. Bye.